How do you feel your mechanics have held up throughout this? I mean, people are covering there being issues sometimes.
Yeah, I feel great with my mechanics. I've been able to, I feel like I've been able to retain those pretty well and just kind of, even since I got hurt, I've been able to do some seated throwing like throughout the whole time. And so that's one thing I've been really, I've emphasized a lot to make sure those don't go away.
What are your expectations when you get back over the next 5 weeks?
Say that again?
Your rehab plans over the next 5 weeks?
Yeah, same as they've been. Obviously now the guys won't be here, but me and a handful of other guys will still be here rehabbing and just doing what we can to get back out there.
What are your expectations when you do return for training camp? How much do you think you'll be involved?
It's a fluid process still. I'd love to answer that and tell you, but I feel good where I'm at. I feel like once training camp comes around, again, we can just keep kind of pushing it every day a little more, and time will tell when camp comes around.
Carson, that
seated throwing, who recommended that, and what does that kind of accomplish, that exercise?
I don't really know if anyone recommended it. I was just too stubborn to not do anything. During those playoff runs and everything, it was tough to just sit around, so I just kind of did that myself.
You seem to be moving pretty freely with that brace. How does it feel now you ran around with it for a few weeks?
Yeah, it feels good. It feels good. Kind of just part of the rehab. I've been able to just keep doing more and more, and I'm getting used to the brace and everything, and so far so good.
Kind of you can play with 5 weeks, what benchmark do you want to hit?
I think the biggest thing right now is just keep pushing along until I'm cleared. At the end of the day, there's little benchmarks along the way, but there's nothing huge. As you see out here, I'm doing quite a bit. I'm doing quite a bit, and obviously the biggest last hurdle is going to be the contact part.
Kind of a lighthearted moment, but we saw you just kind of playing catch with Alshon Jeffery. What's it like when the rest of the team is working out, you can still have some one-on-one time with them?
Yeah, it's good. Obviously we'd love to be out there competing and everything and all these things. I know it's tough for him to watch from the sideline too, just like it is for a lot of us competitors. But again, kind of the theme of this offseason, going through rehab with Alshon, with Maragos, with Hicks, Jason Peters, Sproles, everybody. It's no fun. But at the end of the day, at least we're getting to do it together.
Carson, in terms of making checks at the line of scrimmage and audibles and stuff, since you've been out, have you spent even more time doing that? Do you feel like that part of your game's going to be advanced when you get back, or no?
That's a good question. I feel good. Obviously I had a little extra time at the end of last season. I wasn't quite preparing the same way for games, so I got to kind of reflect a little bit on our offense and what we were doing well and tweaks we could make and those things. But just getting a little extra time in the film room and everything throughout the offseason, I think will be beneficial.
I know you had the guys out of North Dakota this time last year in the summer. Any chance to do anything like that this year?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's been tough just with planning and everything, not knowing where I'd be as far as with rehab and needing to be around here with rehab and everything. So that's looking like it might not happen this summer, but I know they might be sad about that.
When you was promoted press, did they talk to you beforehand? Was there any involvement that you had in that decision?
I think it was pretty much known how we all felt about Press beforehand. I think we've seen Press behind the scenes the last couple of years and how hard he works, and a lot of guys have a ton of respect for him as both a person and as a coach. And I know that's where I sit, and so far it's been great. He understands the game extremely well, and we're very like-minded both on and off the field. So the relationship that I have with him personally, and then that he has with really all of us quarterbacks, has been tremendous so far.
What do you see? What's the cap on his future? What can he
for Press?
do as a coach? Yeah.
I think the sky's the limit. Honestly, I see a really bright mind in Press and just a guy that loves the game, is a student of the game, and honestly, I think the sky's the limit for him.
What does he do to challenge you when he's given feedback that's constructive criticism? How does he relay that to you?
Yeah, it's every coach has their own kind of way of doing that. He's definitely not a guy that's going to yell or scream or try and embarrass you or show you up. A lot of it's just kind of one-on-one off to the side or in the film room, watching things. And I think when you just have mutual respect for each other, when he does give me pointers or challenge me on things, it's something I definitely don't take lightly and strive to get better with.
What is it about the personalities with you and Nick that kind of makes the dynamic between the two work so well?
I think first and foremost, the fact that we're brothers in Christ. As brothers in Christ and just putting Christ first in our lives, that kind of just breaks down every barrier, breaks down every wall, and we realize there's just so much more to this life and such a bigger purpose out there than arguing over a lot of little things.
Who among the receivers has stuck out to you so far in OTAs and minicamp?
I've been really impressed with a lot of the guys. Obviously there's still a handful of mistakes being made. Those are always the things to clean up, with young guys to new free agents and those types of things. I've been really excited about Mike, seeing Mike out here, and I think he's a lot faster than I thought, on film, and seeing him in person and everything has been really cool. Unfortunately for me, I haven't gotten a ton of work with them in live reps, but I've been impressed with a handful of those guys.
As far as logistics, Carson, how do you spend these next 5 weeks? Do you stay here? Do you go home? What do you do?
I'll have a little time to myself, but I'll be here a lot. And I'm not going to tell you my every move either, but we'll be getting a lot of work in and doing everything I can. So come camp, I'll be ready to go.
Carson, what's the next step in your rehab? What's the next hurdle for you?
Yeah, kind of touched on that a little bit earlier, but it's just little things along the way. And like I said, the biggest hurdle, the last hurdle, is going to be the contact issue.
If during that off time that you do have, if the Sixers asked you to be a part of a welcoming committee to get LeBron James here, would you do it?
Absolutely. I hope he's coming. Ertz and I were there the other night, and unfortunately, he lost and everything. I didn't really care who won in that game, but just seeing him live, and we decided to make it a recruiting trip.
Did you guys get a chance to talk to him?
We did not, but hopefully he knows we were there.
At the start of camp, you're 6 weeks until opening day, basically. What's the timetable then? Do you feel like you need to get those live reps?
It's a good question. It's hard to say I need X to be ready. I think at the end of the day, I just need to be cleared for contact. Like you see out here right now, I'm doing quite a bit, and I think come camp I'll just keep progressing, doing more and more, and just to finally be cleared of that contact issue is really the last hurdle, and I feel I'll be ready whenever that is.
You haven't had any setbacks, have you?
So far, so good.
Are you further along than you thought you would be at this point? I mean, being able to do the 7-on-7s, was that kind of...
It's hard to say, honestly, because I've never dealt with an injury like this. I've never dealt with a injury over 2 months really, and so I just fully expected to be ahead of schedule, whatever that meant. That's just kind of my mentality, and so far so good.
You guys had a lot of success with RPOs last year, Carson. Defenses obviously are going to make their adjustments after the offseason. Are you looking forward to how this is going to evolve?
For sure. RPOs were a big part of our offense last year. I think it kind of got more and more as the year went on. We saw the effectiveness and just using them in situations as well. I think it's just been something that's evolved. And, at the same time, teams evolve. Defenses evolve to try and prevent those things. So it's a constant chess match with all of that stuff. And I know I enjoy it, Nick enjoys it, and I think the offense gets excited just knowing that there's a lot of options on every play.
You had firsthand, knowledge of Dallas before the Eagles drafted him. What have you seen? I know it's early and the pads aren't on.
Yeah.
Typically, when a guy comes out here in the spring, you get a pretty good idea whether he belongs or not.
Yeah.
Does Dallas?
Yeah, he looks good. He looks good. A lot of the free agents and the young guys I've been impressed with. Just knowing Dallas, I think once we throw the pads on is when you'll really see. I think anytime you play a position like that with a body frame like he has, I think once you put the pads on and let him kind of bang around and be physical, I think he'll really kind of step up. But he looks good. He's learned the offense extremely quickly. I've been impressed with him mentally and physically. So, I think again with a guy like him as well, I think the sky's the limit too.
How much do you feel the effects of the injuries you went through at this point in your rehab?
In terms of what do you mean?
Just any lingering effects, feeling it, is anything still there, or does it feel pretty normal at this point?
Feels pretty good.
Feels pretty good.
Yep.
Take some more questions.
Carson, on the RPOs you were talking about, it seemed like at the end of the season you guys were using some man-beating routes and really developed. Was that just part of the evolution and how defenses were covering you guys?
Yeah, for sure. I think, we call them attackers, different types of attackers, whether it's a trips attacker or just a two-man concept, and just kind of seeing coverage and letting that kind of dictate the route you call. Seeing things at the line of scrimmage and maybe making checks at the line. Those are all things that have just kind of kept evolving as the year went, and obviously it helped us quite a bit.
Carson, Father's Day is this Sunday. Can you reflect on the best advice you received from your father over years?
The best advice? That's a great question. My dad's been awesome. My dad's been my biggest fan, biggest supporter ever since I was a kid. Took me to all sorts of games, always challenged me and pushed me. It's hard to say one piece of advice, but he's kind of a clown too. We like to joke around with each other, so I love my dad and appreciate that question.
Carson, preseason games emerged as a goal
Yeah, you know, I kind of stay by my goal that I said a while ago is just week 1. You know, preseason, we'll see. You know, we'll see. Time will tell. But my goal is still targeting week 1.